Why I ride in diverse and inclement weather. Well, I ride in inclement weather and diverse weather because it helps me get to develop more skill with the windy days, cold and windy, snow, um, rain, and rather than parking my bike under a say store canopy or something, I just keep riding. And I know people have this thing about, oh, you should park and wait for 20 minutes for the rain to stop. And I guess it depends on how bad the rain is, obviously, but for the most part, that's a skill developer, man. Learning how to operate my front brake, learning how to operate my rear brake in such inclement weather to check to see how slick it is. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, if you don't get out in the weather, and it's not to be cool, well, I'm kind of cool about that because it doesn't bother me, cold doesn't bother me. I don't get stiff, like I see riders say, I get stiff. That's because you don't wear the right equipment. Very simple. And ultimately, diverse weather is a teacher of skill development. Now, can you go fast? Yeah, you can still go fast. You just have to be a lot more, how do I say, you apply your brakes more, and then your eyes, you're watching your distances because they'll change. The rain may be hitting your visor and it gets pretty thick, that kind of deal. But for the most part, it's an absolute skill builder. I mean, I just don't know how people get around that. Fair weather riders, whatever, that's the only time you want to ride because, well, maybe you're old or maybe you're young and incapable of handling a little bit of cold, things like that. Don't want to wreck, that kind of thing. It's not for everybody, but I ride in diverse and inclement weather because I actually enjoy it. I have fun doing it. I mean, the roads are clearer, actually. People don't get on them very often. Even cars actually seem to get scared of it too. They don't even like it, and they're in a cage, man. I like it. I enjoy it. And I absolutely know that it's a skill builder. It builds your clutch work, your front brake, your rear brake, your counter steering, your throttle control. You start learning that real fast because when you feel that back tire start sliding just a little bit and you're in tune with the bike, you're going to know, hey, all right, I'm going a little too fast, or I'm taking curves a little too tight, that kind of thing. But it really develops your skill, whether people believe it or not. Those who ride in it in all kinds of weather know their skill level's highly developed. And to me, that's awesome. The people that live in constantly warm weathered states, whatever, dude. That's the skill level they have. But a lot of people are gonna be like, nah, we can ride in that kind of weather and blah blah blah. But man, it takes a real motorcyclist, man, to ride in that kind of weather. And I mean a real motorcyclist. I'm not just talking about fair weather. I'm not just talking about the weekend warrior. I'm talking about the motorcyclist, the guy who really loves these machines and what they do. Now, does it mean that people don't love their machines because they don't ride in it? No, not necessarily. But it definitely tells me that one rider is more developed than the other. And when that rider becomes more developed, they're just a better rider all the way around. And it doesn't matter where they're at. They can be going to another state and end up in inclement weather, but they know how to handle it because they've handled it before. You get the sunshine warrior, and he ain't going to know how to handle it. He's just going to pull over and wait in the hotel room, spend about 80 to $130 to sit there, and that's fine, But does riding adverse inclement weather make a guy cool? Absolutely, it makes him cool, man. To me, it does. To me, I see a rider out in inclement weather, adverse weather, man. I'm like, yeah, that dude's learning some skill. He probably has good skill. Now, does that mean we don't wreck? Well, it definitely reduces the wreck, and it definitely reduces the chances of it, especially when you're riding in town and stuff. But, you ride in cold weather, windy weather, 10 miles an hour, 15, 18, 20, you learn how to handle the bike. And you learn the bike, and you learn the street, and you gain a lot of skill. So that's why I do it. I don't do it to be cool, because I really don't care about being cool. It's about being a motorcyclist and loving these machines and actually learning these machines. And it's a constant learning curve. It's no different than anything else that you really want to master. And you know everybody masters different things. MotoGP guys are freaking fast on tracks, man, super fast, and that's what they do. uh, Adventure touring bikes, those guys are good at what they do. Street riders, they're good at what they do if they take the time to learn and develop their skill and continue to hone that skill. And how do you hone and develop that skill? Well, some may come from advice from other riders that are actually really good. Some will come from riders that aren't that good, but they have a skill that you can utilize, and that's actually pretty smart. So, I mean, it comes in different ways. But for me, actually riding in this adverse weather, this develops my skill. And in the summertime, man, oh, there's a little sand. Oh no, my tires were cold. Oh no. And, like, I hear that a lot about cold tires and cold this and cold that, man. And I've ridden in some pretty cold weather with my tires and been just fine. So, if you want to use your tires for beer holders, go for it, man. But I use mine for riding. In any case, I would recommend windy days, rainy days, cold days, and intermixed days, where you got all that intermixed, the wind, the rain, the cold, the wind, that kind of stuff. Learn to ride in it and see how much of a better rider you're becoming, and you actually become a rider, man. I tell you, I look at a lot of people who drive regular cars now, and I just go, man, and they still can't drive worth a shit, in my opinion. Inclement weather is even worse for them. So, and they got four wheels, so if they're sliding off the road, I'm thinking, well, yeah, I got two wheels. Will I slide off the road? Possibly. But in all reality, the only difference is they got four and they got a cage, and I don't. But ultimately, I'm going to hone my skill by riding in adverse and inclement weather. So maybe you should consider that. If you're a beginner, obviously hone your skills on learning your controls and your brakes and how your bike operates, and then get out and start doing it a little at a time. Maybe in the neighborhood when it's very windy or rainy, just kind of go around a little bit and see what it feels like. See if you like it, and start venturing out slowly, and then eventually you'll get a feel for it, and you'll start going places, and you'll start realizing just how freaking great it is and how good your skill develops. If you just want to be a track rider, we'll go spend money on tracks and go practice out in where there's hardly any vehicles, and you can open up and do that. Just figure it out. That's really what it boils down to. And again, take some coursework, practice constantly, practice your emergency braking, things like that, and that's for heavy traffic, that kind of deal. Slow speed maneuvers so that you don't have to put your foot down when traffic is moving slow. I mean, be able to not put your foot down, come to a stop, and then take off, that kind of thing. Practice, and practice does that. So, I mean, look at the boater. He's out there. It's a cold day. It's windy. It's was kind of snowing a little bit. It was kind of wild, but anyway, yeah, that's why I ride adverse weather. Do I think I'm better than most? I don't know, maybe sometimes, but for for the most part. You know, I definitely look at riding 1000 cc's is a lot of fun. Nakeds and sport bikes. That stuff's a lot of fun, man. I don't care what people say. They think you can have a lot of fun on a smaller bike. I go, sure, you can have fun on a smaller bike, but I'm telling you, you can have a lot of fun on 1000 cc and a lot of horsepower, and it's just going to be that torque and your abilities, and it's you and basically the elements. So, yep, that's why I ride adverse and inclement weather. So, just be safe, be vigilant, practice.